So, our previous podcast video was about loyalty, and we talked a
Mm.
bit about betrayal as well. And we mentioned at the end that we were going to talk a bit about loyalty and how you, Amanda, have
Mhm.
been impacted by this.
Yep.
So let's start off with what what is the story?
So I worked for a large organization, in my professional world, and I had been a contractor there for 3 or 4 years before being made an employee. And nearly 5 years later, I was laid off in a completely surprising move. I knew that there was some reorganization things happening, but having got an exceeds expectations at my previous performance review,
Mm.
I had thought about this circumstance and how I served as an IT person, I served this organization that was going to go away. But I had thought, there's no way that they would get rid of me. I didn't even think about the getting rid of me. I thought they will reallocate me.
Hmm.
And it's almost like, I don't know whether you believe in premonitions or not, but I literally thought about this walking to my car one day, thinking about this possibility. Nah, they would never do that to me. And then on the 30th of October, 2019, they did that, and I was shell-shocked.
I remember it.
Mhm.
It was like you'd been hit by a truck.
That's right.
And from the outside looking in, I felt like um, it had almost like robbed you of you in a way. Like your self-worth was all in question, everything, like all of it.
Yes.
Um, so what extent do you think that job was part of your identity?
Well, you see, this is where the loyalty thing comes in. The reason it felt like being hit by a truck was that I had put my heart and soul into what I was doing. I, so the other thing I realized with hindsight was that while I knew there were going to be some organizational changes happening, I was having so much fun delivering the project I was leading. I was leading a group of about 20 people. I did not have line authority over any of them, but I was exercising everything I knew about what some people call servant leadership, that is, leading without authority. And I was having a great time and being hugely successful at it. So I felt like I had poured my heart and my soul into this, and that translated into a kind of loyalty slash misplaced loyalty, but because I had put everything into it, I felt really, really betrayed by this
Mm-mm.
organization. And so I'm not sure whether there's always been more to Amanda Welsby than her job. Always.
Mm.
Like, I've volunteered in different ways. I'm an Enneagram practitioner. I volunteer for a women's organization. I like to sew when I can. There's a lot more to me.
Mm-hmm.
But having been dedicated, really dedicated to the hours when I was at work, they had my all.
Mm-hmm.
That part of my identity, to the degree that you spend 8 hours a day, 5 days a week,
Mm-hmm.
in that world, yes, it was a very significant part of my identity. And then in getting laid off at the time, it felt like we don't care what you or anyone else thinks about what you've brought to the table here, what you've
Mm-hmm.
accomplished here. Thank you, but no thank you anymore.
Yeah, it's devastating.
Yeah.
It's a really tricky one with work, because you want to care about what you do,
Yes.
like, and you want to love what you do, and you want to invest in what you do.
Yeah.
And when you go for an interview for a job, that is the qualities that they look for as well as you doing the job.
Good point.
So you bring it all, and then they're like, well, thanks for bringing your heart. Bye.
Right.
And it's like, but this is what you asked for. And clearly I was delivering it. I was hitting the goals. The team were
Hmm.
happy. I did everything you asked me to do and what you wanted when you interviewed me.
Yep.
And now I'm just kicked to the curb.
And you know what? It wasn't just me that was kicked to the curb. Like my team felt kicked too.
Hmm.
Nobody could believe that they would actually have done that. Actually, there's a Harvard Business Review article I read very recently, probably September 2025 edition. And it was talking about how productivity, after there's a layoff in an organization,
Mm.
productivity amongst those who remain is lower for up to 2 years after that event.
Hmm.
So, whenever these organizations think that they're saying thanks, but no thanks to one person,
Hmm.
it spreads far wider than that. And I don't think that they consider that. But anyway.
So do you think then that loyalty between
Mm, mm.
workers is stronger than the loyalty you have to the people higher up the chain?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So after this happened to me, I had to question my concept of loyalty. I had been loyal to the organization
Hmm.
and I expected them to be loyal to me. But who is them,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
The organization doesn't even exist without people.
Hmm.
So it's loyalty to some sort of relational dynamic
Hmm.
that you perceive has value. And yes, ultimately, I it was the people on my team that were making the thing happen, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't the people on my team that fired me.
No.
It was the people above for, various different reasons. I mean, in the end, I, well, not even in the end, I very quickly understood that I was actually collateral damage. Um,
Mm.
I was used as collateral damage to deal with someone else who hadn't been
Ooh.
performing without putting that organization at legal jeopardy.
Oh gosh.
They had to let go a high performing woman to cover their rear ends, to let go an underperforming um, individual who had been underperforming for decades and it had never been handled. And I think they probably thought, Amanda will be all right. We'll give her a nice package and we'll hire her back, in short order. We'll get her back in. It'll be okay. There'll be no long-term damage to us. But my sense of betrayal in the media aftermath of that was so profound
Mm.
that there was no way that I could contemplate going back after
No.
that. In the final analysis, interestingly enough, this was right before COVID, right? So I was laid off 30th of October 2019 and COVID kicked in the following March. I did actually go back as a contractor because I was concerned that because of the COVID that I wouldn't be able to get employment anywhere else. I had
Mm.
decided to be kind to myself for a couple of months after that. And
Mm.
yeah, and so the world changed a bit. I did go back for as a contractor for just over a year. But in the end, I knew I had to draw a line underneath
Hmm.
that entire corporation because I was never going to be able to fully move past my experience without feeling in some way, I don't know, resentful. It would have been resentful at the time. At this point, though, I just would not have been, with integrity, I would not have been nearly as invested as I needed to be to work there ever again. Even pulling back and redefining my sense of loyalty.
Mm.
It couldn't have worked.
I do think you aced it though, because you went back in on more money than what you were on before, because you went back as a contractor. I was like, well, maybe they were happy to pay that because it was you.
Maybe.
Maybe, you just don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but it just goes to show that, like you said, you can completely destroy your business by making an action on one team or one person
Yeah.
because it messes up the balance between people massively.
Yeah.
Um, so here's a question for you.
Hmm.
Do you think loyalty at work needs a thicker skin than loyalty at home? Like what's the difference?
Um, well, I think that at home, the boundaries are less clearly defined at home
Hmm.
when you are relationally, intrinsically connected with someone.
Yeah.
You love someone else, you're in love with someone else, you adore your children. Um,
Hmm.
you are invested in your family 24/7, 365,
Hmm.
right? And so, from that perspective, I would certainly like to think that most of us would um, go a number of extra miles to resolve our issues within our
Yeah.
families, right? The difference being at work that you can detach from it, at least in theory, because it's 8 hours a day for 5 days a week, right?
Hmm.
And you go home, or at least many of us go home from an office space and can detach more easily. I think in a work setting, it's really, really helpful. I put as much of myself into my job as I did with my family. Like I care about people too much, right? It's something
Oh.
I've had to deal with, right? But be careful where you place your energy. So whereas
Mm-hmm.
once it was probably equal and paradoxically unbalanced,
Mm-hmm.
now I am very clear about who and what my priorities are vis-a-vis the workplace.
That's fascinating that you've had to go through some hard stuff to learn that.
Hmm.
And that's something I figured out right at the start of my career. Isn't that so funny? Like,
So tell me about that.
so my first break into what I do, um, was an interesting company, let's say. It was not culturally healthy. It was
Mm.
quite hostile. And I very quickly realized that I had to play a game to
Right.
climb the ladder. I did put some boundaries in places with people, and I knew then I was like, I need to not give these people anything of myself. Don't
Mm.
tell them anything about yourself, um,
Mm.
and just do the job. And incidentally, as I've moved into having my own business, um, there was one particular bump I had with someone, and it ended up in small claims court.
Hmm.
And I had told her a few little things about my family life, and that came right back at me from the mediator. She threw it all in my face
Really?
as a
Okay.
way of getting around not paying. And
Hmm.
it's like, not paying is not an option. Like you have to come to a compromise.
Yep.
But she was literally pulling on the straws,
Hmm.
and then she obviously wasn't winning, so then went for the jugular with the personal stuff.
Right.
And it was like, wow. And I already knew sharing personal things was a bit of a dangerous
Yep.
territory. And now I don't do it at all. Like
Yep.
my clients don't know too much about what goes on.
Hmm.
And if they do hear things, it's because they've earned some stripes where I'm like, okay, we can maybe open the door a little smidge.
Yeah.
But I'd never go the full way.
So it's coming back to the question that you asked me actually in terms of how much do you think your loyalty is to people? Like I would say that a very significant proportion of my success with my team is because I'm transparent with who I am.
Hmm.
But I will agree with you that I have definitely pulled back on that
Yeah.
since, and it takes far longer to build trust with me um, than it did before. Although I still achieve right, wrong, or indifferent, that same degree of connection with some people. after a
Yeah.
period of time. And maybe that's a mistake on my behalf. I don't know. At the end of the day, it's who I am, and I admire your ability to zip it, actually. It's something I'm continuing to work on. Yeah,
So do you think then that earning loyalty is an incremental thing? So people have to earn their
hmm
stripes.
absolutely.
And do you think that is something that you do with, the older you get?
Okay, so interesting answer to this question. I have a really good friend, and um, in Enneagram terms, we're both Enneagram twos, like we're both helpers. But she is a two with a one wing, and I'm a two with a three wing.
So you
Okay.
need to have a quick summary of this. So,
Right. So the two is the helper,
hmm
the woman behind the curtain, right? Don't look behind the curtain. Wizard of
hmm
Oz, right?
right.
Because there's a woman behind the usually man in front, right? Who's actually making it all happen, right? Twos are very, very good at that, right? And a two with a one wing is a helper who has a perfectionist streak.
hmm
And the two with the three wing, which is what I am, is the one with the I don't want to call it the image streak, the two that wants to convey a good image, right? They
Yeah.
want things to be right, to look right,
Yeah.
for the performance to be there,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So my friend has the one wing and I have the three wing. And she always says to me, she says, Amanda, you give people the benefit of the doubt too much,
Ooh,
right?
okay.
And I would probably say to her, you give people the benefit of the doubt too little,
hmm
right? And we both need to do more of the opposite of our natural inclination. Like I've had to learn that I need to be more circumspect,
hmm
and she needs to give a little
Right.
up front. Um, and so, yes. So I've had, from my perspective, to answer your question, I've had to learn to expect people to earn their stripes more than I once did.
Right.
But that's not the same for everyone, because for my
Mm-mm.
friend, the opposite is true, is that she has to give people an opportunity to prove themselves
hmm
before, she says, that wasn't good enough. I don't trust you.
So it's fascinating you saying that because it's like it is literally coming from childhood. So your childhood has definitely made you into that helper for a
hmm
billion different reasons.
Yeah.
And then that's impacted your loyalty and almost being too loyal with no earning of stripes in everything that you do.
Yes. So here's another thing about me as an Enneagram 2, right? And it feeds in. So my inner motivation for what I do is because I want to feel loved. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not the same for everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So some people want to feel like they are good, and
Mm-hmm.
other people want to feel successful, and other people want to feel unique.
Mm-hmm.
Others want to be seen as knowledgeable. Others want to be seen as secure,
Mm-hmm.
or to feel that security. Um, Others just want to have fun. Other people strive for justice. So inner motivations are very different. And one of my inner motivations is to feel loved. So the reason I felt betrayed in this layoff and had
Mm-hmm.
this reckoning with myself about loyalty was that I felt intrinsically unloved
Mm-hmm.
and unappreciated and unseen and unworthy and all the things.
Yeah.
But yes, and so I also had to do a job with myself to reconcile that as well and understand that whether I'm loved or not actually has nothing to do with whether I am loyal to my organization or my organization is loyal to me.
Exactly, because
So,
work isn't love.
no,
It isn't, you can't
no,
muddle it up.
no, that's right.
So, how do you stay on the right side of being emotionally invested in what you do without becoming cold?
Well, I might not be the best person to ask that
It's
question to, because being cold is nothing that I'm
not
really
cute.
good at, right? I
Right.
mean, even when I'm being mean, I do it with some heat. Um, I think I think you just have to be acutely aware of those boundaries, right? And
Hmm.
where, so I have to manage my heat. So I have little stickies on my screen, and one of them says low and slow.
Hmm.
Like I manage myself better if when I'm getting a little stressed, a little animated, if I keep myself low and slow. Because when you start to amp up and get animated, you talk faster and faster, and your voice goes up, and all of a sudden you become a screeching woman, right?
Okay.
Um, and so I have to be very careful about that, right? So my issue being heat rather than cold, right?
Okay.
Um, what else would I say about that? And I think just exactly what we've already talked about. Be careful what you share,
Exactly.
you know? Share a little bit. Make it definitely what you share is earned and not just given, free of charge.
Brilliant.
Because what is not paid for is never appreciated.
Very true. So, what techniques have you used to come back from betrayal?
Um, I talk to myself a lot. Like people
Hmm.
might say I'm mad. So I got some stressful situations going on at work right now. And I have to, instead of going in with the blinkered view of nobody sees me, nobody loves me, nobody wants me, you know, I have to open that view this way and consider what other perspectives, A, other people have, and B, I need to have
Hmm.
in order to process this particular situation that I'm in order that, so with my processing the circumstances of 5 years ago, the question I had to ask myself in the end was I betrayed by this organization, or did I actually betray myself first?
Ooh. Yep. Oh.
And the answer was yes.
Hmm.
There were plenty um, things that happened that were aha moments that I should have considered, like walking out into the car park that day
Hmm.
and thinking, I know there's going to be an org change. I should have advocated for myself at that point and
Yeah.
chosen to do something different. Instead of saying, they'll never do that to me. I'm having too much fun. I'm being very successful right now.
Hmm.
Just keep going.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I think being aware of those, not making career ending moves, like not fighting fire with fire. You're never going to get what you want.
Nope.
When you do that, yeah, low and slow, my goodness, and
Hmm.
low and slow with myself,
Hmm.
not just the interactions
Hmm.
that I have with other people. Um, Look around that tissue box. What are the other perspectives that you need to have? Like right now, it might be that instead of being so emotionally invested in my perception of my value in a circumstance I'm in, I might need to say, you know what, I'm just going to do what I have to do because I value my paycheck more, right? I
Exactly.
need my paycheck right now.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so there are different definitions of loyalty and of being loyal to yourself so that you don't betray yourself.
Exactly.
And what is it that you might do to betray yourself that will really leave you just feeling, okay, what just happened? Because we're all complicit in the circumstances in which we find ourselves.
Exactly. So that's been a fascinating sort of breakdown.
Yeah,
And in terms of it's fascinating for people that have jobs. It's fascinating for people that run businesses and employ people.
yeah,
And there's something there for everyone to kind of have a bit of a think about in terms of, what you give to your work or how you deal with your staff. It's
right.
all really, really useful
And what
stuff.
you hold back for yourself,
Exactly.
because that's about your value and your worth, as a human being, your inner dignity as a human being. Don't
Bang.
put it all out to be stolen from you.
Bang. Look
Yeah.
after yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
Amazing. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, sure.
And we shall see you guys next time.
Thank you.